Alright, so it's just occurred to me that I've made the mistake of leaving the clock visible in the background here, so you can actually tell I'm doing this at 11:50 at night, but... Alright, remove that. Alright, take 30. Hello everybody. You may be wondering what I'm doing here in the kitchen. Let's just say this is where all my lights and stuff were to begin with, and that's kind of where I want to keep them. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the kitchen, so I'm going to go ahead and roll the intro for you. Hi, my name's Graham, and I run a live cooking show on Twitch, with a heavy focus on Japanese home cooking. Back in March of 2020, I went to Japan with the goal of donating 1,000 origami cranes to the Hiroshima Children's Peace Memorial. I streamed almost every day while I was there, and I thought I should bring some highlights to YouTube. This video series details that journey. Alright, so this project actually began back in August of 2019, when I decided I was going to fold an origami crane for each subscriber that I got on my Twitch channel. And once we got to 1,000, I offered to donate them to the Hiroshima Children's Peace Memorial, where they commonly take donations of folded cranes to honor the memory of a young girl called Sadako that was affected by the bombings in 1945. However, I thought it would be kind of boring if we just flew to Japan and headed straight there. So, naturally, our journey starts on the complete opposite end of the country, up in Aomori Prefecture. That's what this video today is going to be about. I think I'm going to try and put like a map on the screen, like right about here, and highlight the different cities that we're going to get to. But essentially, it starts in Aomori, and we're going to go through Hirosaki and Goshigawara today. And today we're also going to be talking about the train journey between Aomori City and Akita Prefecture. I would like to point out that all the video you're going to see in this vlog is actually taken from a downloaded copy of my live streams, so it's not the best in terms of quality. I thought maybe if we edited it together a little bit, it might still be enjoyable to watch. Alright, so after about 10 hours on the plane, I definitely decided I needed to stay the night in Tokyo to get my rest before taking the Shinkansen north to Aomori, and so we stayed in Kanda for the night. And during that time, I definitely took inventory of all my toilet's functions, because you have to. This just says massage. I don't know if I'm wanting that. Helped myself to a fast food dinner, and then the next morning we were off to the frozen north. Well, I say frozen, but really it was just really windy. But after finding my way to my next business hotel, I decided to go ahead and go for a little walk and turn the stream on and spend some time cruising around the city. I didn't really have a plan in Aomori, but I did know that I wanted to take a look at the Seaside Park, which by every indication was probably built sometime in the 80s and has slowly had its features removed ever since. I should point out at this point in the video that I was actually in Aomori City the day that the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic, so the crowds on the streets were pretty thin to say the least. While cruising through the Seaside Park, I did find myself in the shadow of the unfortunately named ASPAM building? ASPM building? I forget what it stands for, but you see signs for it in katakana everywhere. Aspamu. Maybe I'll just tell you what it stands for, like over here. I can do this in a recorded video now. This is really cool. Anyway, inside they had a ton of souvenir shops, carrying all manner of Aomori-related goods. You had all sorts of apple products, Aomori Prefecture being very famous for its Fuji apples. You had all sorts of Nebuta-related goods, too. Some I was a little bit less enthusiastic about than others. Oh, and I did find a bottle of garlic cola while I was there as well. I think it was only like 350 yen. Totally worth it, even if the wind did try to take some of it from me. Cheers, guys. The other big thing people like to do in Aomori is the Nebuta Festival, which actually has a year-round museum if you're not there in early August to catch the festival itself. But essentially, I don't want to call them balloons, but they're parade floats covered in paper that is also waxed to protect it from the rain. They're really entrancing to look at. I think they're super cool. And I've wanted to see them ever since there was actually an Aomori stage in Capcom vs. SNK 2 back in the early Aughties. So it's kind of cool to see that in person. I didn't actually go into the museum proper, though, because I knew that I'd be going to Goshigawara the next day, and I knew that those were going to be really nice. And then, of course, if you're in Aomori and you're already at the Nebuta Museum, all you have to do is walk like another 100 feet or so to get to the A Factory. On offer at A Factory, as you might expect, is every manner of Apple product you can think of. Not the electronics, but actual apples. Cruising around A Factory was like the guy from Forrest Gump, Bubba, talking about all the ways he likes to prepare shrimp. Just following the outside wall, there was hard apple cider, apple sake, apple wine, apple brandy, apple juice, apple pudding, apples with tan lines, apples of considerable size, freeze-dried apple chunks, apple chocolates, freeze-dried apple slices, and something called apple fry balls. I don't know what that was. I was afraid to spend money on it. Oh, and a burger that I don't think would work in America. So anyway, if you're looking for a souvenir for Aomori, apples are it. Definitely pick up some apples. Whoever you bring them to will love them. It just occurred to me that I never actually ate a fresh apple while I was in Aomori Prefecture. Probably should have done that. Oh, and I wanted to make special mention of a really interesting food item that I tried. It was hang on. I'm just gonna Google it real quick and make sure I have it right. And that's right, it's miso curry milk ramen, which is sort of like the everything bagel of ramen dishes. Apparently it was first invented by a bunch of junior high and high schoolers that visited a local ramen place up there, but I actually really look forward to trying to make it myself someday. Day 2. I just remember, I don't know what time I got up, but I remember waking up super early to catch the early train to Hirosaki because I knew that I would be walking a lot that day. I want to say it was like 7 miles or something like that. That's what vacationing in Japan is like for those curious. So I did what any other self-respecting tourist should do. Loaded up on a train station bento box and hit the streets. So immediately after leaving Hirosaki Station, I headed straight to the Hirosaki Castle ruins, which a lot of Japanese castles actually don't have a lot of the original architecture still around. That doesn't mean they aren't in very lovely parks for you to walk around in, though. Hirosaki Castle Park isn't particularly close to the station, but I will say it's a really good walk. The streets of Hirosaki definitely have withstood the ravages of time a little bit better than the streets of Aomori have. And once I got to the park, we had a lovely little picnic, despite the mishap with the chopsticks. Turns out chopsticks don't have to be long to be usable though. Anyway, after finishing up in the park, I decided to go ahead and head on back to the station, catch a train to Goshigawara, so I had plenty of time to spend at the Tachi Nebuta Museum before it closed. Now, Nebuta has a slightly different pronunciation to Nebuta. Nebuta is what they call it in Aomori City. In Goshigawara, they call it Tachi Nebuta. And it's actually just the same thing, but scaled way up. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into in Goshigawara, but I was really excited to see the Tachi Nebuta floats, as I've heard they're breathtaking, and they were. I don't think there's much else to do in Goshigawara, actually, but I would love to go back during festival season sometime to see these things as they move around the city. So what they've done is they've actually created these massive 70-foot tall parade floats using various folkloric and mythological figures as sort of an inspiration. The 3 they had up while I was there were Kagehime, Jimmu Tenno, the very first emperor of Japan, and one called Matoi, which was based around the concept of a firefighter. While listening to the presentation that they gave, I did hear that the Matoi sculpture was actually going to be retired that year. They were building one to replace it called Shibaraku, and they actually invited me to take a look at it on the 3rd floor. It was fantastic. I would definitely do it again, and I can't wait to bring my wife there next time. Alright, day 3. So this one's kind of big because I haven't actually shown this footage to anyone before. Not that it's particularly good, so don't get your hopes up, but it was a really cool day. I had a good time. So what I did was I booked a seat on the sightseeing train from Aomori City down to Akita City. I took the afternoon train. I've heard the morning train is actually a little bit better because it's better lit, you get to see a few more things. But to be entirely honest with you, the sunset was awesome. And rather than talk over it too much, I'm just going to go ahead and put some music over it and let you watch. Man, it was like the most relaxing afternoon I'd had in a while. Anyway, once that was done, relaxation time was over. I had to sprint across Akita Station to catch the Shinkansen headed to Kakunodate, because that's where I was staying for the night. But, since that's in Akita Prefecture, I think we'll save that for the next vlog. Alright guys, well, that is all we have for Aomori Prefecture. I expect another one of these will come out in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, if you'd like to hear more about the trip, feel free to stop by my Twitch channel over at twitch.tv/tabatai-cooking. Drop it right here on the screen like the pros do. And yeah, I'd be happy to talk all about it. Alright, so this is actually my first vlogging video ever. And so I'm a little bit nervous about how it's going to be received. In fact, if you're watching this, you're probably from the Twitch channel to begin with, which thank you for doing that. I think we got like 4 or 5 of these coming out in total. So of course, if you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell, like, whatever you want to do. Alright everybody, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Please shout towards the sea. Okay, hang on. Tabatai cooking.